information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to the Mary Goulet Show, cultivating a rich interior. Now, here's Mary.
Welcome back to the program. Yes, Mary Goulet, your host. Cultivating a rich interior can take place in many ways, and today we're here with Sebastian Slovin, author, coach, and speaker, author of Ashes in the Ocean, a son's story of living through and learning from his father's suicide. So in the last segment, I was talking about life can get messy in any area of our lives, and we just have to have the inner tools to cope and manage. And so I love your take, Sebastian. Tell us about your website of Nature Unplugged, but also about the book and how those two get married together.
Yeah, sure. Well, first I want to say that I completely resonate with your message. And I think, the core takeaway of Ashes in the Ocean is about coming away from a loss or tragedy with resilience and a rich interior, a place to go back to. It's funny, you mentioned water heater breaking.
Yeah.
I was just recently on vacation with my wife up in the Pacific Northwest, came back, house partially flooded, water heater deal. And in the past, that would have been, it's not a fun situation, but I have this interior, this place to go to, this practice, and it comes from these trials and tribulations.
Yeah, and to that example, life is going to happen.
Yeah.
But if we can train our nervous system to stop reacting, as a knee-jerk reaction of freak out, when you practice, and I want to hear more about your practice with nature and addressing how to step away from the digital and back into our soul,
sure,
in a way.
Yeah.
How did you respond when you came home with your place kind of flooded?
Yeah, I think it was an initial shock, like what's going on here, and oh no, what's going to happen, and then the quick realization that that kind of the way that direction is going or the way that's going is not going to lead to probably a beneficial outcome. So I think it's a go-to thing for me. Yoga and meditation is coming back to my breath. So a few deep breaths, and that is, I think, enough of a gap in the panic to reset me and kind of bring me back to, okay, now what is the solution? Going solution focused. So, make some calls, get some people out here, take care of business, and go on with life.
Yeah. And to your point, take a deep breath. We go so quickly that we're living in our minds so much. If we could that's why meditation, and here in our wonderful town of Encinitas, where we both happen to live, people do try to do yoga and go to the beach and go for long walks. And so we have that benefit. Taking the exhale, and then on my show, I always say, state the problem once, focus on the solution.
Yeah.
So I sell real estate as well, and there are probably 14, 15 people involved in any given transaction. So that could be 5 problems per person. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
And emotions on both sides. I used to get like PTSD in a way. I'd see an email, different people that you would transact with, because buyers and sellers get emotional. And our job is to calm their expectations and, manage them and calm them down. But in the past, I would there's an email. Oh, they're texting me.
Yeah.
They're calling me. What are they going to say? And now I'm just like, okay, what's the problem?
Yeah.
Let's fix it. That's so much better to live in the land of state the problem once, focus on the solution. But it takes a training. I don't know. Do you agree that it takes a lot of awareness to recognize that our nervous system is trained to be a certain way since we're little?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think probably that has to do with family dynamics and stuff, and some stuff that's intrinsic to our genetics, just
sure.
Fear, flight, fight or flight response type thing. And it does take, I think, a a practice. It's a continual cultivation of some sort of practice that resonates with you. And it is. It's like a training. Building a muscle, building that muscle of awareness. Oh, am I holding my breath? Am I? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, getting stuck on the inhale.
Yeah.
I have a friend who surfs every day, and that's his physical practice and meditative practice,
right?
Which is great. He also does yoga, and he, out of curiosity, asked me to teach him the rosary. So he says Hail Marys on the surfboard, because I said to him, I'm like, you're already prostrate on the board, which is a really reverent thing to be.
Yeah.
Why don't you just toss out a potent Hail Mary and see what happens? And to this day, he says, I get the best waves. He goes, I almost feel bad for other surfers because I just pray the Hail Marys over and over and over. And he does 54-day novenas. I mean, he's like, she totally rocks. I'm like, she does. So he's just keeps adding to his interior.
Yeah.
So tell me, how, going back to Nature Unplugged,
sure.
What do you and your wife teach people, and how do you do it?
Yeah.
Is it a class, a workshop?
Great question. Yeah, so we do both individual coaching, one-on-one coaching, and workshops. So I think the core of what we're all about is helping people recognize when technology's beneficial, because there's certainly some wonderful aspects to technology, like doing this radio show, being able to, I have family and friends all over the world and being able to connect with them all over the world, educational tools, things like that. And then there's, the flip side, the vortex of endlessly scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or Netflix or whatever it happens to be. And, I think we can bring this back to sort of the talk about depression and suicide, but there's so much isolation now, I think, because of smartphones. And it's not to say that they're all bad, but it's helping people recognize for them, when it's healthy and when it's not. And so, so it's largely a practice of awareness. So that's, I think, part of what we do, and giving people, I think, these tools, practical tools to, in your words, cultivate a rich interior. So that could be, developing a practice of mindfulness, yoga, meditation. For me, getting out in nature is really a core piece of my process, and I think it's such a wonderful sort of countermeasure to the technology. It's just unplugging, getting outside, going for a walk, going to the beach, things like that. So, yeah.
So what I've learned to do, recently, it wasn't a mental process. It was an awakening. My kids were not home. I did not have the TV on. I had no other things going on. And I realized I had sat doing just work or reading for like 4 or 5 hours in complete solitude. That is a gift. I create or seek out solitude.
Right.
Because then you can hear inspiration. Because inspiration's not a mental process. Creativity's not a mental process.
Right.
No artist goes up to a palette and says, I am going to paint this figure and it's going to look like this. They don't do that.
Right.
They paint, they let it go through them. Singer-songwriters do the same thing. I mean, if we can live in that flow where you get when you're out hiking or on the beach or doing yoga, we're just getting that energy flowing. So before we go end this segment, let's just introduce the topic of ashes in the ocean so that in the next segment we can talk a little bit more where you want to go. Because I made notes. I read the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's very good. And I want to share my notes and get your comments on them as well.
Sure. Yeah, so Ashes in the Ocean is my story and journey of, losing my father to suicide at a young age, at 6 years old, and for many, many years not talking about it, not dealing with it, and then eventually realizing that wasn't working out for me. And then going through the difficult but I think healing work of facing it and eventually coming out the other side. And that's a little, just a snapshot of it. My passion and purpose is to get out and share the story and help start the conversation about suicide and getting rid of the stigma around suicide and mental health and all these things.
Yeah, and I think you'll be a welcome guest because finally the world is acknowledging it because high-profile people are not pushed to the side anymore. People are waking up and saying, we need to talk about this. There was a band that wrote a song based on the phone number for the suicide hotline.
Wow.
Because there were several band members, LinkedIn and different ones that we need to have a place to go inside. We need to support one another. And I you know?
Yeah. The timing is absolutely, it's critical.
The tipping point is here.
Yeah, for sure.
So taking this and maybe this interview and putting it out to your people and getting Susan, your publicist who's here today, out in more media formats, because then people are going to go, oh, it's okay to talk about. It's okay. It's not a shameful thing anymore. It's an illness.
Right.
It's a mental illness.
Yeah.
And when my friend whose sister died by suicide, at her eulogy, she said, what did she said? She had like a mental cancer, cancer of the mind, and she fought it and fought it. So lots of great information we're going to give in the next segment from Sebastian. You're listening to The Mary Goulet Show. We'll be right back.
Hey, do you want a great price on a new or used car? Hi, this is professional racing driver Don Swanson, and I know a thing or two about cars. I'm talking about Military Auto Center, San Diego's original and only automotive warehouse where low overhead means low prices on your next vehicle. Stop by and experience a friendly and casual way to discuss your car needs. They're located conveniently at 9323 Activity Road. You can call them at 858-831-7887 or online at militaryautocenter.com. We'll see you there.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Video consumption is on the rise. So, to reach this audience, Construct Tech Magazine created Construct Tech TV. Construct Tech TV helps construction professionals leverage emerging solutions to better their business. Tune in to ConstructTech.tv to catch the latest show on the first and third Tuesday of each month. Like, view, and subscribe to ConstructTech.tv, bringing dynamic video to construction.
You've heard me bragging about Progressive Medical Center and how they've helped me feel so much healthier. But one thing, Dr. Agoli, that a lot of people come to you with is just unexplained pain. They just can't get any relief. Why can Progressive Medical Center's Pain Management Center help them?
First of all, we have to acknowledge that pain is for real, and you've got acute pain and chronic pain. Here's the problem. That acute pain turns to chronic, which is long-standing, and no one's getting to the root cause. There's several key diagnostic components that help us get to the root of what's causing this pain. Is it inflammation? Once we do a thorough evaluation to get to the root cause, determine if it's structural or if it's a metabolic issue. And this way, we put an individualized program for pain management involving correcting the spine, using certain injections when necessary, and we get our patients out of pain quicker, and they stay out of pain because we teach them how to live their life well.
Don't let yourself live in pain any longer. Get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today at progressivemedicalcenter.com.
Progressive Medical, this is your life. Live it well.